Welcome everybody. I'm Lizzie Brooks from Lizzie Brooks Yoga and Fitness. Today is medicinal flow. So I hope it cures all that ails you. I think we all need a little bit of flow movement medicine to feel better. And sometimes just showing up and starting is the hardest part. So I really appreciate that you did show up and that you are starting. And please hit like and subscribe if you find value to this video, and come join me on your mat. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and prop my hips up onto a blanket. If you have something you'd like to prop your hips up on, feel free to do that. Kind of nice to get the hips higher than the knees, or at least the same height. Close your eyes and connect to your breath. So I've often said that the highway to relaxation is just giving some focus to the breath. And it sounds so simple, but we often skip it. So let's make time for it now. And just see how the movement of the lungs changes the movement of the rest of the body. Let your shoulder blades relax. Take a swallow and relax your throat and your jaw. We're going to feel so much better after we take this medicinal movement today. Bring your hands together to your heart. Set your intention for this practice. Let it be really, really simple, really attainable. Maybe it's just I want to focus on my breath, or the word health, or love, whatever it is. We'll inhale fully and sigh out. And shake off the clutter, open your eyes, and let the head just move where it wants to go. So we're just stretching the neck and checking in. Have we been holding extra tension where we don't need it? I'm gonna roll my chin down. Maybe you'll do that too. You'll come to areas where you need a little bit of elongation of the breath and elongation of the stretch. And then roll the head back down towards the heart, and one vertebra at a time, let the head stack all the way back up, and sigh when you get there. All right, inhale, reach both arms up. Interlace your fingers, press the palms away. If that doesn't work, just keep reaching. And this time we'll round forward. So you can either reach forward or interlace once the hands are in front of you. Round the spine, round the head, open behind the back, and then just shimmy slowly side to side. So you're moving the scapula or the shoulder blades a little bit across the back and opening in between the shoulder blades. And then inhale with that interlaced set of fingers, or unlaced. Take the arms up and exhale, float down. So we want to make space around the lungs, and this is part of doing that. Roll the shoulders back and down a few times. And then I'm going to turn sideways here so you can see how I'm opening the heart. Take your fingertips down, let your thumbs point towards you and your fingertips point away. And then root into your sitting bones. Lift through the belly button, then the sternum. Then roll the shoulder blades onto your back and open through the chest. So we want to open as if we're expansive through the clavicle area and through the pecs here. Take a deep breath in and sigh out. Now we'll transfer ourselves to a seated position where the feet are in front of us. I took my blanket down so I don't teeter-totter off of that. You might want to do that too. Take the hands to the kneecaps. The feet are slightly wider than the sitting bones. Roll the shoulder blades back up, pick up the heart. Exhale, round the spine. If you want to walk the feet a little closer in, if that feels better, do that. Inhale, roll back. So now we're bringing that integration of shoulders and spine together, rounding down. Inhale, roll up, transfer the weight forward to the front of the sitting bones, lift the sternum. Exhale, round it down, open the back door of the heart. Inhale, come all the way up and sigh out. Walk the feet a little forward. Interlace behind your left leg and just lift the shin. So we're going to start to engage more of the core and more of the back body. So like the core of an apple, not just surface. waking up through the quads. Spread your toes so you don't get a cramp in the arch of the foot. And then really draw in, hold the pose, but don't hold the breath. And then we'll go to the other side, interlace, some support, finding that almost you're drawing yourself like a sandwich a little closer together, whatever kind of sandwich you prefer. Hopefully not like processed meat or bologna. And hey, whatever you're into. Really opening through the heart, engaging through the core, and working those paraspinal muscles. And then lower. Cross your legs in your non-habitual way. So this is my habitual way, how I normally do and how I like it. So I'm going to get a little cranky when I do this, and that's okay. I'm going to cross my legs the way my hips aren't used to. So please do that, because you do have a dominant or more open hip likely, and we want to find balance over time. So keep that crossing. Walk your fingertips more forward, unless sitting up tall is enough. Inhale. Exhale, follow the exhalations into any amount of a fold. Inhale gets you a little longer, and the exhale walks you into any amount of a fold. So you don't have to flatten yourself down to the ground. That's really not what we're going for. What we're going for is some elongation in the spine and feeling a little open through the hips. And everybody will feel that a little differently depending on how they hold their tension, shape of the pelvis, soft tissue, all of that. Deep breath in. Exhale out. Inhale, walking the hands all the way back up. Take the fingertips back like you did before. Roll the shoulder blades back. Lift and open the heart. Breathing here. So we're going from that forward fold to the back bend. No need to jet the chin up. Keep the neck neutral. And then soften the spine into its normal position. Cross the way that you really want to. Inhale, let the arms rise up. Exhale, walking any amount forward. Following that breath, inhale. Exhale, any amount of softening. So we want to nurture and nourish the body. The body's doing a lot for us. And sometimes we're sitting a little too long, driving, working at the computer too much, or maybe we're doing work that is not balanced, right? So here we try to find that balance between sukha and sthira, so between kind of effort and ease. Inhale, walk all the way back up, inhale, and sigh out. I think I told you to inhale there twice. Just breathe. Take your fingertips back, shoulder blades back, lift the heart. Broaden through the chest. So we want to feel expansive and even kind of stimulating at that thymus gland, which helps regulate the immune system. Neutralize the spine, and we'll come to all fours. So the blanket is already kind of there for you. If you want to use it in your all fours position, that might be nice. And we're going to get a little bit more into the shoulders and the core. So what this is going to look like is a drawing of the organs towards the spine, not rounding, just drawing up. A lowering of one forearm, then the other, a straightening of the arm, and then the other. So I'm leading right now, right hand, then left, right, then left. Now I'm going to switch it. Left forearm, then right, left hand, then right. Right leads, right forearm, left, right hand, left, left forearm, left hand, right. So you can do this kind of however you like. And what I ask is that you keep it slow and steady instead of super fast. I don't want you to slam down into the floor. You're going to keep drawing your organs towards your spine, and you'll start to pick up the heart rate a little bit more and work through the core. And then we'll hold in the forearm position, breathing here, and find some cat-cow. Drape the heart down, lift the sitting bones in the heart any amount, and the shoulders back. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, reversing slowly, going into your extension, and then rounding into flexion, round. Inhale, neutral. Exhale here.
And let's transition either into child's pose or downward dog. So what do you feel would be more, quote, medicinal for your body? What would take care of you and give you exactly what you need in the moment? That's where I want you to go all the time, not just now, all the time. Opportunity to soften the neck if you're in that downward facing dog. Play with reaching your heels back and not just down. So you could even take that as back fully or back first and then down, but not just forcing down. Okay, so the heels do not have to touch, and for most of us they won't. Transitioning into plank pose or back to all fours. You choose, breathing here. Take the brunt of it through into the center line, meaning you're drawing to the center line, don't take it in the neck. And then from here, rock a little forward and back. Now some of us are on the knees and we're just rocking a little forward and back. Maybe you're here. So we want to add a little bit more of that blood flow and heart rate. If we're thinking about this as medicinal movement, we're thinking about it as balance. So again, finding strengthening and finding softening. And let's go to the softening. Lower the knees down, press back, child's pose. I'm gonna recommend that you, on this one, if your head touches the floor easily, that maybe you could take your arms back, palms down, and let the shoulder blades and elbows just kind of roll off to the sides. If you'd rather have your arms forward, that's fine. So take a walk towards the breath, let the breath hold your hand. And rising up. Coming to downward facing dog. Move your blanket out of the way for a moment and place that off to this side. And from here, let the right leg rise just kind of pelvis level. Hug into the midline and seal the right foot down. You're gonna put your fingertips down and hop your left foot forward into the left a little bit. So you're not on a straight line here, but you are on train tracks with the 2 feet. Drag your right hip crease back. This might be a place where using blocks is helpful on the inside or on either side of that right foot. And breathe here. So, I can feel that my right IT band needs some stretching medicine here. Keep drawing that hip crease back, and instead of trying to push yourself down towards the leg, push the floor away, take the sternum up, and then take the sternum forward as you rotate the sitting bones back. Breathing there, and by rotate I mean drag that right hip crease really long and back. Press into the ball joint of your right toe, big toe and the right pinky toe. From here, bring your hands to your waist. Inhale, slowly come up. You might micro-bend that front knee in order to make that a little bit easier for the hamstrings and the low back. Then bend your front knee and we'll go into a wide-footed chair. Hands are still at the waist. It's a little baby chair. You're not really deep here. You're not overreaching the tail. And then inhale, press all the way up. Bring your hands to your heart. Mountain pose. So just gauging your balance and bringing a little more steadiness to the mind through the breath, through the avenue of the breath. Come back to your intention for your practice today. We'll move through a half sun salute and then a full. Inhale, reaching out and up. Exhale, bend the knees any amount as you fold. Inhale, hands could glide the shins or stay to the floor, rise halfway up, and exhale, fold. Inhale to rise. You could reverse a swan dive, you could roll up, what feels good for your back, and hands to the heart. Now we'll go to the fold where you're also going to have choices. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold. Ardha Uttanasana, rise halfway up. Uttanasana, fold. Okay, so when you crossed your legs in the non-dominant direction last time, that was something kind of new. I want you to do something kind of new here. Get out of that habitual movement. So for me, I normally step my right foot back first. I'm not going to do that. Put your fingertips down. Step the leg you normally don't step back with first. Step that first, and then create your plank pose. Now from here's where you have that choice. Do you want to lower halfway down, all the way down, Is your back bend a cobra, an up dog, a shalabhasana, a baby cobra? And we'll arrive in downward dog together, breathing. If you need a child's pose, always place a child's pose. That's never a bad choice. Soften the neck, travel the breath. Let's begin with the left leg reaching out and back, not too high. Use that core musculature, draw even the ankle up high, send the sole of the foot down. We're in this lunge for a moment. And then the right foot pops up a little closer to the front of the mat and over to the right. Drag that left hip crease back. And instead of pouring down the leg, come away from it and then draw the sternum forward and out of the pelvis as you take the hips back. That'll bring us a little more into that IT band rather than the hamstrings as we lean forward. Bring the hands to the waist, loop the shoulder blades onto the back, maybe micro bend the front knee, and inhale, transition all the way up. That's really good. That transition's so good for strengthening the hips. Bend that front knee, wide-footed chair, hands on the waist. This time we'll bring the arms back and remember when we plugged the fingers into the floor when we were seated at the beginning? Find that here, imagine you're plugging in there. So you're really engaging through the triceps. And then don't collapse at the low back. Support. Press into the floor. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, hands to the heart. Deep breath in. Sigh out. Shake it out. We're going to go into a wide stance. So join me facing the long edge of your mat. And bring your hands back to your waist and draw a circle with the pelvis. So this could be small or large. I don't really care the size as long as it feels like you're doing some good opening and as long as you're not going fast. And reverse that rotation. Feel into the feet, so make sure you have your foundation there and that you're not just rolling to the inside of the arches, which we tend to do. Press into the outer sides of the feet too. And then from here, reach your arms out to the sides and press down energetically. So like as if someone was pressing up into your hands, press down into their hands. But then take the work out of the neck. Good. Doesn't mean you should always do that action. It means we're just doing that action now to engage a little bit differently. Now rotate your palms up, so you're going from internal rotation to external rotation of the shoulders. And now press upwards into imaginary hands. Breathing here in that full expansion like a starfish. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Shift your weight over into your left foot and bend the left knee. From here, turn your right toes out to the side. If that doesn't feel good for your hip to go into external rotation, keep it in internal, how you had it. And then maybe shift the hips back, bring the torso just a little bit more forward and breathe here. So it's like a half malasana, but it's more strengthening because it's not passive. Your hips are higher than your knee. And then we'll go back into our straight armed reach. You can press up or press down depending on what feels good. Breathe here. And then bring the hands to the heart. Shift to the other side. Really bend knee in the same direction as your toes. And then you can take that option of rotating into external rotation in the opposite leg. Shift the hips back a little bit more. Press evenly into the feet and breathe. So strengthening, so good for us. Also, you probably feel some stretch. And coming all the way up, rotate the toes forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, we'll move into the hamstrings, hands to the waist. Let me scoot back a little bit here and exhale, fold. Hands could stay at the waist or come down to the floor at any time that you deem necessary, and you might walk a little further into your fold. So sometimes what happens, so stay with it, I'm gonna talk you through it. Sometimes when I take people into this fold and we're deeply in the hamstrings, it's like the more resistance we have in the hamstrings, the more we really just wanna keep fighting against it and going deeper. Do less.
So when your body, when your hamstrings feel that fight, they're going to try to protect you and pull back and not allow it. So ease back, do maybe 85, 90% of your length, and then just flow the breath there so that your nervous system can calm down and it's like, oh, it's safe to do this stretch. Bring your hands back to your waist. Bent knees, maybe, coming all the way up. We're doing that strength transition for the hips like we did with wider feet now. And shake that out. Turn your heels in and come into your goddess squat or your horse pose. I like to make sure that I'm not so much here, not because this is wrong, but because of what we're looking for in the groin. And so for that reason, try to take your knees over your ankles and don't drop the hips lower than your knees. Press into the big toe ball joint, pinky toe ball joint in the middle of your heel. Bring your hands to your heart. Breathe here. And open the knees just energetically a little wider as if you're pressing out so we can get that beautiful expansion through the adductors, the inner thighs. Only yoga teachers would say, like, that beautiful expansion of the inner thighs. No, it's very healthy and beneficial, I should say. And from here, straighten everything up, shake it on out, turn your toes forward, and just let the pelvis neutralize a little bit. Turn the left set of toes out, and we're going to be basically left heel to right arch alignment as we come into warrior two. So find it in the legs first. I really want you not focused on where you're turning your gaze or where you're putting your fingertips, but deeply in the legs. Press evenly, like I talked about, into the feet. And then notice if you kind of have a tendency to roll that back hip down and pull on that inner knee. See if you can find a little bit more lift of that back inner thigh so even your back knee and your back toes point the same direction, just like the front. Let the arms hang and then let them float up like they're just coming to the surface of water. Put a little energy through them and gaze over the front fingertips. And just a little in and out here. So as you're ready, if you want to lean back or straight up, you can find that peaceful warrior or just kind of that peaceful warrior with more of a straight line spine. And then forearm to thigh, reach up and over with the top arm. And taking it back into your version of peaceful warrior. And forearm onto the thigh, reaching for extension with that top arm. Last time, I know your leg is getting very tired. And back into that extension. Shoulder blades roll away from the ears. Press into the floor, back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Turn the toes forward, reach up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Well, there's another side. Shake it out. So if that was one set of medicine, we got to give medicine to the other side. So here we go. Turn those toes out. Bring the hands to the waist. So we're not so much worried about what's happening in the arms right now. Let's bring it into the legs and really take a look. It's so easy for us to check in with that front knee, make sure it's not rolling in, make sure it's not rolling out, but we forget about that back leg. So again, find a little bit of accentuated action here, letting the knee and those back toes point in the same direction. Then soften the arms, let them float up. Place some energy through them, gaze over the front fingertips. If you're mostly in the ball joints of that front foot, press into the heel as well. So remember that work of the inner thighs. In and out. So inhale, take it back. Maybe it's a straight line, maybe more of an arc. What feels good in your spine? Exhale, forearm to thigh, reach up and over. Taking it up and back any amount, peaceful warrior. And exhaling into your side angle. Last one, make sure your neck feels happy with your choices so you don't have to gaze up. You can gaze down or keep it neutral. Breathing here. Ooh, did you see my lower shoulder? Don't do what I did. Don't roll that shoulder in like this, roll it back. And we'll come into our warrior two. Straighten up that front leg, turn the toes forward, heel toe in just a little bit, and then we're gonna take either the rest of the way heel toeing or a hop. So bending the knees, you're gonna land with bent knees, very bent knees, at the center, hands to heart. And then shake that all out. So basically, When I think of medicinal movement, I think of getting full body movement, full body, really accentuating the breath, add stress. No, don't do that. Add strength, add flexibility. And the other thing is getting the lymphatic system moving. So I talked a little bit about the thymus gland and the immune system, but also since our lymphatic system doesn't have a pump like the heart pumps the blood, we have to move. And some of that comes from a little bit of a jostling or a hop. If you can't hop today, don't worry, you'll do a little march. We'll start with the march. So I don't care which side you do, arm out, foot out, arm out, foot out, arm in, foot in, arm in, foot in. Okay, so this works, and you can add a little bit more by keeping the knees kind of bending a little bit, lifting and bending. If you want to kick up more of the heart rate and more of that lymphatic system getting movement, this is also really good for building and remineralizing bones, you can add a hop. So I'm never landing with straight knees, and I'm not going too wide out to the sides. Too wide can be destabilizing, so let's just find a hop that feels doable. And it doesn't take a long time of this to really create a total change internally in our systems. 3, you got it, 2, 1, done. Mountain pose. So I find those hops to be completely energizing and shifting. So when I'm in a really cranky mood, or I'm especially fatigued and I know I need a little bit more energy to go about the rest of my day, maybe do 5 or 10 of those. Let's start to slow down that breathing. Gonna go into the hips really sweetly. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Take your feet out wide, not too wide. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. So we're back in those hamstrings. And this is just gonna take us to transition to the short edge of our mat. So hands under the shoulders, turn one set of toes to the short edge of your mat, and come into your lunge. The back knee now is gonna lower. I think this is a great time to use some padding under that knee so that the knee has no discomfort, and so that you can go into more of a quad stretch if you deem necessary today. So blocks could always happen here. Lots of options. Feel free to stay exactly like this. I like to have my toes tucked. You can also have the top of your foot down. See how that feels on the front of your hip and also your lumbar, and choose according to what feels right. Option to rise up to that front thigh. So we're gonna change this up a little bit. Sometimes we think, like we see on magazine covers, that we should just really take that pelvis forward and collapse the back and open. I'm going to ask that on this one, you move your pelvis back a little bit so that the front of your belly, or excuse me, the lower part of your belly is actually off the top of your thigh. So not on it, but off of it. That's going to change what's happening in that other leg. And then, so my left knee is down, so my left arm's going to go up. If you have that reversed, do the other side. And lengthen, 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 up, 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 up. Again, not here, but more here, low belly off of the thigh. And then we'll take our lateral over. So I'm taking that to the right if my left knee is down. Ooh, I am feeling that. Lengthen up and place that hand down onto the floor or onto a block, and we'll reach into a twist. So you can reach behind you with your right arm. Again, that's if your right foot is forward, right arm back. Reverse it if you're on the other side. And then possibility of bending the back knee and finding the back arch. Shoulder blades roll on to the back, breathing here. No need to do this with the back foot. If you want to and you have a strap, you can use that. Just breath. And slowly unwind the back foot if you had that. Hands come down. Move your back knee closer in. So we were really splayed out in asymmetry. Bring everything a little closer into the hub or your center before you transition to all fours. Then in all fours, hug into the midline with the inner thighs. I want you to feel, we were doing a lot of stretching with the inner thighs. Now gently hug in. Restabilizing, bringing yourself back towards midline connection. Downward facing dog. If you would like to take a vinyasa here, feel free. Again, you can move your prop from underneath you if you're using it, if it's in the way. And breathing. So I am taking this opportunity in my downward dog to keep my toes tucked under and to take the front of my ankle forward and my shins forward and press my heart further back towards my shins, way more than I normally would in a downward dog. And then come into downward dog. So that's a weird one. If it didn't work for your toes, your ankles, or any reason, skip it, pretend it never happened. Deep breath in. Big sigh out. All right, so we're gonna come to the other side. We transitioned differently the last time. Let's not worry too much about that. So from here, whichever foot you didn't have forward last time, go ahead and do that. I'm putting my left foot forward and drawing my right knee down. Remember, we're gonna take a pause here and acclimate. So not in a hurry. The body doesn't like hurrying for the most part. Stay here or rise up. Remember, we're gonna draw the low belly off of the top of that left thigh and move the pelvis back slightly so we move the stretch into the front of the right hip and even somewhat down the quads possibly. Stay here or reach the right arm up, whichever side you have the back knee down, that's the arm that goes up. And then lateral reach. Keep rooting what's touching the floor, anchor down and extend up and out from there. Reach straight up and then all the way down, hand under the shoulder. You can reach the other arm back and twist. And then possibility, again, of bending the back knee. And you're really on the top, so you're not on the kneecap so much. You can scoot the knee a little further back to help you come a little more to the top of the knee rather than, and when I say top of the knee, more here than center of the knee, so more kind of behind. Breathing, open the chest. Fake it till you make it. If you're really feeling tense and it's a lot, just slow, steady breathing and your body will go, oh, I guess it's okay to be here. And slowly unwind. Ooh, hands back down. Remember, we're gonna scooch everything closer together. Scooch is a very yogic Sanskrit scientific term. And then bring the knees down. This time, a child's pose. Knees can go wide or together and sitting back. Forearms, maybe the head comes down, or maybe again, you're going to take the arms to the sides. You choose what's best. Go underneath the chaos to where it's calm. We're gonna come out onto our bellies. If you want to use some padding underneath you, I recommend that you open it big enough that when you do come onto your stomach, your rib cage and pelvis are on the same height, not one higher than the other. You don't want to teeter forward or teeter back. So take it on down, rest there for a moment, and do whatever feels good. So maybe you like to kind of take the feet side to side or circle it all around. And we'll rise into Sphinx Pose. So I like to take my elbows the same height as my wrists, so I'm not going to let them come up to the blanket. Spread the fingers gently wide. Root the top of the feet down. Lengthen everything forward. Pull your hands and forearms back. Shoulder blades onto the back. Sternum draws forward. Now, it's not necessary for you to gaze up. You can stay even kind of looking down. Maybe a little more neutral, maybe just to the horizon, but no need to kind of come up here. So let's find it more behind the heart and lengthen our breath. If you want to add a lot of work to this, first of all, if you don't want to do it, please don't. If you want to, lift the elbows off of the mat, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's only, I'll scoot forward, only about 1/2 inch. And draw the elbows towards one another isometrically. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm trembling. You'll start to feel that for sure, really firing those triceps. Inhale, and exhale, unwind for your rest. Soften out the glutes, the low back. And nice and slow, careful with the lumbar, press back into your child's pose. You can have your prop, maybe your towel or your blanket handy for later for your Shavasana. We're just gonna do a little bit of stretching and then we'll come on down. If you want some core work, you can use this transition to grab some core work, rolling one vertebra at a time all the way down, or maybe gliding your hands down the legs and holding on. Take a slow extension of the legs, then reach the arms back, reach, and heel, toe, opening the front of the shins, the back of the legs. And then take the feet a little wider, let go of the wrists if you're holding on, and see if you can cactus the arms. If you can't easily cactus the arms, do something else that feels good with the arms. And just internal and external through the hips, rolling the toes in and out, and then let them soften to the sides. Let a little bit more of your weight be released to the floor. And from here, soles of the feet down, elbows or inner arms alongside of your body, elbows down, palms face each other. Peel, so tuck your tailbone until the low belly comes down, low back on the floor, and just peel the hips up a little bit and breathe here. You might close the eyes, extending through those hip flexors and letting that whole posterior chain, including the glutes and hamstrings, get some work. Slowly ease on down. Draw the knees in, rock a little side to side, and see if there's a twist that feels good here. I always like to do left leg extended, right knee bent, crossing over to the left and unfurling my right arm. Where that right arm goes, nobody knows. Where that right arm goes is just up to what feels good as far as the stretch that day. So I might take it alongside of my ear, to the side, or cactus, maybe diagonal. Your only job is inhaling and exhaling, so do that and do it well. Come back through the midline and take your time switching sides. I got a new microphone, and this is the first time I'm taking a twist on my right side where I don't have a giant battery pack jutting into my side. And when I'm videoing, I'm like, that feels so amazing. No, I'm pretending. And come on back in. Here's where you might grab your bolster or your blanket or a towel and place it under the knees. If it feels better for you to have your Shavasana with your feet to the floor, do that. And stay there and kind of wiggle around and situate and get real picky about it and then release. So do all of those changes and then let yourself go. And I'm just going to talk you through just a little bit. If you haven't fully felt like you could release in Shavasana before, today is a new day. Okay? So close your eyes. And exhalation by exhalation, release a little bit more of yourself. And that's not just physical. So on all the layers, emotional, mental, let it all go. Know that you're totally held up by the floor beneath you. The levels of release that we have felt in our lifetime, while they're lovely, they don't dictate the levels where we can go. So just because you haven't been to the next level doesn't mean that it doesn't exist for you. So stay here as long as you possibly can. Give yourself this time. I'm sure that you deserve it. We all do. And thank you so much for being here and choosing Lizzie Brooks Yoga and Fitness. Please let me know how your practice went down in the comments. And if there's anything else that you'd like to see me make a video for, I'd love to listen to your requests. Namaste.